Okay, so it's 7:05, we can call the meeting to order. The December 3rd meeting of the Economic Development Commission, welcome. Usually we meet in the other room, but we've been bumped by the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Can we have a motion to approve the November minutes?
Motion to approve November minutes.
Motion.
Okay, okay, so a second. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. I guess I'm not being televised backwards, but I just want to announce that the first selectman's next in her series of Wisdom of Woodbridge is going to take place Tuesday, January 19th at the JCC, and it will feature Nancy Yao Mosbach, who is currently the president of the Museum of Chinese in America, who will discuss China's towns and Chinese towns. So I hope that anybody who's listening will be able to attend, and anybody in the room as well. Moving on to our invited guests. Have you guys decided who's going first?
You had Janet first on the
Okay,
agenda,
perfect.
so
Okay, great.
she said.
So welcome, Janet.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. What we've been trying to do is feature local businesses, because we know that this is broadcast and people actually watch. So we'd like to find out, this is for our ambassador program, where we reach out and find out what you do. And as we're finding out what you do, the rest of anybody who's watching can also find out
Excellent.
what you
Thank
do.
you.
So do you want to describe your business?
Sure. I'm an independent educational consultant, and I help students choose and apply to colleges. So that entails all of the many aspects that go into finding the right college fit. So I can help students choose the proper courses in high school, depending on certain majors. Certain colleges may require classes taken in high school so that they have the right classes, and also help them decide how rigorous the curriculum they need to take, help them choose which AP classes to take, if honors, if not, according to their strengths and weaknesses.
So how early on do you start with your students then?
It runs a gamut.
Ideally.
Ideally, I would have everybody as freshmen, because then I could help them all the way through choosing the classes. But very, very few start with me that early, and it would seem silly when you just get into high school to think about college. That seems very far off. I would say the majority come junior year, but I can help students pretty much any time that they come to me.
Great. And do you work with mostly public school students, or a mix of private and public?
I would say it's evenly mixed. I have students from public school, private school, boarding school, parochial school. It's not that I replace the guidance counselor. Students still need their school-based guidance counselor, and that counselor does things that I don't do. I don't write letters of recommendation. They do. I'm more hands-on with the student and helping them when they want to start. High schools, public or private, will have a time frame for each grade. And if families want to begin earlier so they could use the summer before, or different times during vacation to start visiting colleges, or just to make sure that they're on the right track. And so I would say the majority come junior year, but any time is good. Earlier is better. You get more bang for your buck and more information. The focus that I have is to help fit the students to the right college, help them find the right fit, but also explaining the process all along the way so that the student and the family feel that they're making an informed decision, that they're not finding out the rules of the game when it's all over. It's become a very, very competitive and complex process, certainly much more complex than when I applied to college.
How did you start this business? Had you been involved with the college process before?
I had not. I have a close friend in Miami, David Ochler, who has been doing this since 1980. And when it was time for my oldest to start the process, I said, David, he's all yours. And then in the process, David and I started working together. He started training me, mentoring me, and we were in business together for several years. So David started me, and I worked just, alongside him and his clients until he kicked me out of the nest in 2003.
Great, so do you help the kids write their essays or edit their
Yes.
essays? And
Yes, the essays, also, I've been doing this for 12 years. I can tell you that there's more essays to write every year. There's become, everything is just added on and added on. So I will brainstorm with the student about the essays, give them essays to read that some of my former students have said that I can share.
Mhm.
So they get used to the tone and the style. And then now the Common Application is changing the questions every year. So we go over the questions and then help them decide what they want to write about. Then they write and I give suggestions. So that, and I check all of their applications to find errors and just, and I don't change their applications, I don't write their essays, but I will give them a list of things to change on their applications.
Mhm.
And just check and make sure that everything is okay, and also check that they've gone.
Mhm.
I had a student the other night who submitted to a college, and the deadline was December 1st, and I just happened to go, I have their usernames and passwords, but as I said, I don't touch their applications, but I look at them, and I saw on December 1st it had not gone. He thought it went, and I just texted him, not sent,
Wow.
do this today, and that was,
Yeah, that's
that was,
good.
that was a good
That's
catch.
big.
That was a good catch. So it's an enjoyable job. There's always something new to learn, even when you think you know everything, things are always changing. And traveling is a big part of what I do also.
So where do you travel to?
I travel to the colleges to do tours, and the tours that I do are for professionals. They're consortia tours that colleges put together for high school counselors and independent consultants. So we're not getting the same talk that the parents get, we're getting a talk that's geared to people who work with students. So I've seen, not counting anything, I've seen twice, which I have seen several more than once. I've seen 260 colleges, over 260 in the U.S. In the past 12 years. So
impressive.
it is, it takes a lot of time, but that's how I can see, fit. And I'm always learning something else about the college or about the students. So it's, it's a lot of fun.
Now, you're a home-based business, I assume, here in town. And
Yes.
your population of clients, are they predominantly just Woodbridge, or do you branch outside of Woodbridge?
No, I would say Woodbridge is a portion. I think it was a higher portion when my own children were at the high school. But I would say it's evenly split among high schools all over Connecticut and outside. I do have students from other states. I've had a few international students where we work, some in person, some over Skype.
Okay.
And how do you find your clients? I'm sorry, Jen.
They find me. It's a word of mouth business. When I first started it, I would do seminars, and I still do occasionally. I do seminars and invite people to come to free seminars and just explain the process. But mostly it's a word of mouth business. When someone's using it, they said, "Oh, I used Janet. She was great. You should call her."
And high school's friendly to you as far as like they're not stepping on their toes with their guidance counselors?
It depends on the high school, and it depends on the counselors. And when my own children were in Amity, I just gave them a wide berth. So, and I did, after my last child graduated, I went and met the head of guidance, who was just great. And then in the next week, he was promoted. So that was the end of that. So I do need to go and introduce myself to the new head of guidance. But we do different things. It isn't that I replace the guidance counselor, and it's not that I overrule the guidance counselor. We have a different way of doing things. I don't send students to search engines. I don't use search engines. I do all my own research about the colleges, which is, more time consuming.
So you present a list?
I present a list to the student. I mean, of course, with input, they may say I want, medium size, or I want this, or so. I have one who said I want the beach. I'm like, no. That's too narrow. I can maybe find one or two, but that's really not the criteria, and that's also not what your parents are paying for. So, depending on what they want, and you can't magically make something appear that has everything and is in the exact location that they want, but depending on what all they want, if they want a particular sport, either to be, a varsity athlete or a club participant, and the major and the size, and when they, we start with a list, and then they go out and visit. And while they're visiting and touring, it's gone from something that's somewhat of an abstract concept to more concrete, and I think that in the journey, they're finding out more of what they want or what they thought they wanted, And so the list is always in flux until the beginning of senior year. So, because sometimes it changes, either if the grades have gone up, if the scores have gone up, something may go from a reach actually to more of a target. If it goes the other way, or they change their mind. I had one student who started out with musical theater, and then it was something else, and then it was something else, and then we came back to musical theater. So he had 4 lists.
Okay.
But it was, by the time he was done, he did know what he wanted.
So, do you charge, do you have like a set amount, or is it with add-ons?
I have a package that is comprehensive, and that's the easiest for me because then it's all the phone calls, all the emails, all the questions, because the parents have a lot of questions, the students have questions, and I want them to ask. And, I'll say, yes, this is true, no, that's urban myth, or, oh my gosh, I never heard that one, let me find out and I'll get back to you. But for people who don't want the comprehensive package, I have a few smaller packages, but at that point, it's not an endlessly changing list. It's more set as far as the number of meetings and what will be covered, and the student has to be at least a second semester junior and with test scores, otherwise the list is not accurate enough.
Right, well, having 2 seniors, I could tell you.
This year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're in the thick of it now, too.
I'm in the thick of it. I am in the thick of it, so I can appreciate, we didn't go for the private route, but I can appreciate what you're offering. Sounds like I think a lot of other people in the community could also benefit from
Thank you. Yeah.
Your expertise.
Sometimes it's good just to pass it off to somebody else, and then the parents can step back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
Do students only come to you, or do you actually go to their homes too?
No, they come to me.
Okay.
I have the office in the house. It has a separate entrance. It was my husband and children's music room, and now it's the office. So that's good. This way it's private for them. And
so a couple of years ago, we went to a meeting. It was a Economic Development Regional Commission. Up until that point, I think the mindset of the EDC was, all businesses ought to be in the business district. And at the meeting, they said, you actually want to encourage home businesses because we'd like you to expand to grow out of your home and then move into the business district.
oh, there you go.
And so it was just, it was sort of one of these moments where, of course, that makes sense, but just it's hard for municipality to think that way. But
Right.
We sort of changed our mindset. So.
That's good. Thank you.
And to follow up on what Jody said, we want to be a resource as well to you and any of the other folks that, come here into the business community at large. Networking events that Jody will be talking about that we have, and, try to bring more and more of our business community together at our various networking events. So we want to make sure you're on our website, on our EDC website, your business is signed up there. We want to make sure we have your contact information. So when something's going on through the EDC that we can reach out to you and, hopefully, see you more than at just this event, but at other events throughout the year.
I think as soon as the website was started, I was on it, and I do get the emails, so
Okay.
Right.
I'm paying attention.
Great. Well, we're going to have another. The town has started these business networking events, like a cocktail hour sort of thing. We had one last one, and there's one probably coming up in January. We don't have an exact date, but keep your eye out. It's a nice way to meet other business owners in the community.
Sounds good. I remember the last one, but I had a conflict.
Yeah. Well, there'll be another one.
Good.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Take this out of the way so I'm not blocking.
Thank you.
And you can stay for their presentation?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Great.
I'm a fan of professionals.
Yes, you want to put your sign up, or?
Put your sign on the chair. and
Yeah.
you
I
can
was
sit
asked to
back
move
there.
over.
I think that makes sense.
It might just work like that. Maybe not.
You want?
That might help, actually.
You want to try?
We could try, maybe underneath it if it works.
I'm just gonna line this up.
Okay.
Maybe put it on the
On
table?
the table, maybe.
Put it on the table and use it the same way.
See if it works. Yeah, looks like a sturdy little.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I was using it wrong. There we go.
Ah.
Yeah, just spread that out a little.
Perfect.
And that actually is a
Nice.
nice little dentist.
Anyway, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, yes, I'm Stephanie Cabral,
Mario Cabral.
and we are the owners of Progressions Hair Salon here in Woodbridge. We have been in business for over 30 years here in Woodbridge. We were located in another area on Amity Road and then moved to the new location that the Urbanos had built at 245 Amity Road, where we've now been about 6 years and love that plaza. It's very nice. So we're a full-service hair salon. We do hair, nails, waxing. We also have a wig boutique. I got involved back in, maybe about 10 years ago with a program called Look Good, Feel Better. It is a program through the American Cancer Society where I do volunteer work and I help women apply their makeup and teach them tips on how to care for themselves after they've lost their hair and lashes and eyebrows. So it was very important to me to be able to provide services like that for my regular clientele. A lot of women in our profession come in with many unfortunate diagnoses. So we moved to the new space where we were able to now put the wig boutique and also offer other services. We are now excited about a new service that we're offering, which is a integrated hair system for women at this time. It's called Evolve. Evolve is a system that allows women with alopecia to be able to have a full head of hair. We also offer hair extensions. We recently just ran an ad in the local town paper and had quite a few new people call about it. It is one of the most unfortunate things for women to have hair loss. Unlike men, who it's socially acceptable, for women it's very difficult and challenging not to have hair and to be in the public eye. So this system is really transforming their lives and we're very happy about it. We have 7, 8 employees, constantly growing, educating. We hold events in our salon. We enjoy being a part of the community in that way, in that aspect, and being able to give back to the community. We do a Pampered in Pink event, which also is to help raise money for breast cancer research. We do various events throughout the year, girls' nights and men's nights to come into the salon and try mini services. And so we're always looking for ways to connect back with the community. Being in business as long as we have, we've been successful to be able to maintain this business for this many years. So doing things with the community and keeping us connected to the base is really important. That's why we're very excited that we were invited to come and speak to you and talk to you about what we've done and what can be done to help to keep us connected with Woodbridge.
Great. Well, wonderful.
Anything you want to say?
One of the things that Steph was mentioning, that one of the things that we do is for Smilo, the fundraiser. This actually runs the whole month of October. Over the last 10 years that I've been involved with it, I've gotten 34 businesses in the area to be part of it. So we have maybe a dozen restaurants, 2 dentists. Our highest, actually, Kate Brown is part of it. One of the 2 of the prizes that businesses will give us prizes to raffle off, which is done through the whole month of October.
Okay.
We have 2 dentists, each of them gave a $500 gift certificate if you have your teeth whitened. We have nutritionists, Emily Liquor, 4 bottles of wine.
So we try to pull in
So you
all
actually
the...
do a raffle in your store?
The whole month of October, as people come in and out, they're able to buy raffle tickets. And we have it set up in the salon, all the prizes, and they put it where they hope to win. On the last day of the month of October, Halloween to be exact, we all get dressed up. That's the day that the names are picked to find out what the winners are. We always pick a theme as far as getting dressed up for Halloween. This year we
were
were
the Minions. And we do what's called Pampered in Pink. So we invite the town as well as outside of the town. We publicize it through Smilo and local Facebook media and social media. And we have volunteer cosmetologists that come in and offer mini services to women and men, whoever choose to come in. It's usually mostly women. And we provide these mini services, and they pay a fee to have these mini services, and all of the profits go to the donated, go to Smilo. And then we always pamper all of those that have been through this ordeal of cancer as a service to them. They're pampered in pink at no donation fee. And so we get a lot of women, as we said, we
have 4 masseuses that volunteer their time.
Wow.
They can come in and
brought
get
in
15-minute back rubs.
So we try to pull in the community to help out with these things. We also go outside so that we can make it as successful as possible and bring in other businesses as well, as they said, restaurants and other area businesses to help down and through Westville, down into New Haven. But it's been a very successful event. We've raised quite a few thousands of dollars over the last 10 years.
Around 30
Wow.
over the last 12 years.
Wow.
We've been at Smilo. As a matter of fact, I think I have some of their money on me right now.
That we need to
We have
give
to
down there,
coordinate
yes.
those.
We had to set up our meeting with them to present them with their check.
Oh, wonderful. Kate, is there any way to work that somehow? Is it worked into the Scarecrow Festival?
You know, one of the things I always say about Stephanie O'Mara is, first, you were the first ones in the building, right?
Yes.
And so when I moved in early on, I was one of the first ones on the second floor. They were incredibly gracious neighbors, but they're really very generous with their time and knowledge and, you know, business know-how in terms of sharing and getting everybody else involved. So they're the first ones to get involved whenever we
Okay.
try to offer
Okay.
something at the Scarecrow
Right.
Festival, anytime. And especially because it really, one of the things we were concerned about in offering the Scarecrow Festival is we did not want to interfere with Pampered and Pink
I see.
because it
Okay.
is such a big
Okay.
event. But they jump right in.
Well,
They're
yeah,
the first
yeah,
ones to
okay,
put a
okay.
scarecrow out and to, you know, they had
Do you dress in
brownies and
pink?
cider and
We did, this year she was Frenchie from Greece.
It was
She was all in
hysterical.
pink.
so they have been wonderful. And even as a business owner, I mean, I'm partial. I mean, adore these two. I happen to be a client, which you probably don't want me to say right now because of this. But, but they they're helping everybody else out. So by doing Pampered and Pink, not only are they doing something wonderful for charity, but as a business owner, my name is out there. So everybody that walks through that door is seeing my, you know, pamphlet and brochure, and they're talking about us. So,
Okay.
you know, they share the wealth, if you will. And
We post it on Facebook, we put it on our website, so any businesses that donate get that recognition for that entire month. Again, we reach out to as many businesses in the community for the donations, which then gives them the ability to be advertised in there.
Yeah.
And not to say that,
What I tell them is, you're gonna get a month, I'm the one that goes out there and
yes,
hustles
he
these people.
does.
So my sales pitch is, you're gonna get a month's, first of all, I'm sure you know somebody that's had cancer or has it. That's part of the pitch. And then you're getting 30 days of people's, because we put their business cards, their
Right,
logos out there. So this helps,
Yeah.
more and more people are having
Uh-huh.
these events.
Right.
So sometimes I'm told to come back in a week or 2 weeks, because they just gave money
Right.
out. So I'm back and forth with them. But
The
I'm up
cross
to
marketing is great.
I'm up to
I mean,
34
It's great to see
Absolutely.
businesses do that, and through the EDC, we can help as well with events like this, promote it. We have our news link on the homepage of EDC. Betsy sends out the emails and stuff through the town, so those are additional services I think we could help.
Yeah, I mean,
in terms of promoting.
I think we can help with
And when
with
you
it.
asked about the Scarecrow Festival, you know, originally when that was all coming about and what date were they gonna choose, it's hard for us because this has to be such a success for us
Right,
that we
right,
wanna make
right.
sure that if the Scarecrow Festival was the week before, and then we're sending out too many emails and too many things to say, hey, come for this, come for that, something's gonna get lost in the wind, and we don't want it to be this.
Right.
If it turns out that Scarecrow Festival kind of works on that weekend, and I'm not sure how or what it would be, but that people are now
Right.
floating through on that same weekend,
Right.
then we have no problem with being a part of it that way
Right,
and
okay.
kind of making it work. It was just, we were always advertising, we put out for the Scarecrow Festival, but then we put more of our eggs in this
No,
other basket.
Oh, no, this is wonderful. I'm not asking you to take
No, and
anything
I
from
just
it.
was
I just
telling-
sort of,
Yeah.
you know,
It
they're both
could.
based at the same place. It's approximately the
Right.
same time.
I
I
mean,
think
I-
there's potential for synergies, and we should just keep our eyes open.
I agree.
Because there may be a way to cross-market, cross-promote it. The other thing that we might want to do is gear a business, you know, one of our cocktail business
Yeah.
gatherings
Mm.
around Pretty in Pink, and maybe you'd host it in your salon and get all the business owners
That would be nice.
out there, and, I mean, that may be, you know, make sure it's in October, subject to your, but,
No, absolutely.
yeah,
And I agree with you when you're saying this, but about businesses. I think 245 being that sort of like
downtown.
the downtown at this point. You have scattered businesses, but you've got a bulk of them,
Right, yeah,
whether
mhm,
they're,
yeah.
that it's an area that can be utilized so much more than it is.
Mhm.
And, you know, that other businesses should feel free to be able to partake in whatever it is. And the hard part, because one of the things I know that we talk about all the time is how do we get people to come through the plaza, and how do we get, you know, it's not your typical downtown. There aren't sidewalks connecting
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
where people can walk, and there's not just this commuter parking lot where people can park and then get out and walk.
Mhm.
Those things make it challenging.
Certainly ways to promote sort of a night at 2:45 to benefit, to benefit the, was it Paint the Town in Pink?
Pampered and pink.
Pampered and Pink.
But I like that.
Because I mean, I mean, if you've got,
Yeah.
if you've got a full-service restaurant with a large bar down there, and you've
Right.
got yours, and there may be some other folks that are moving in down there, I mean, you could have an open house down there and have the different businesses be a part of a larger thing and make it sort of a networking night.
Like we had done that spring, remember the,
Spring,
what was that called, spring?
Fling? No, not spring.
You had to go
Right.
business to business
And
and
that
get
was,
the
we were
thing.
trying to get that to work. That's another
Passport to something.
passport to,
Savings. It was a spring event, but it was,
Oh,
every business
right,
was
yeah.
included and you had to
Right,
go.
right, right.
So it was a lot of walking around. And people seem to like that.
I mean, at least for the business part, I think we're getting a turnout at these events, and so we should definitely,
Yeah.
Sure.
I think, use it. And then, I mean, then you may be able to, this is a bigger issue, but maybe the town, you invite, do you have a public night like, do you have one night where you ask all your customers to come in? Or
We'll do that a couple of times a year.
you do?
Yeah.
Okay, around this event.
Not just around this event, like in the spring.
Right, okay.
Then sometimes it may be late summer and then sometimes holiday time.
Right.
Or like after, we did it last year after the holidays because everybody's got so much to do before that.
Right.
Clients were extremely
Uh,
pleased to have something to do
Right.
when all of a sudden all the,
Uh,
hoopla is over and
right.
you're looking for something to do.
Uh.
So we did something in late January last year with our client
Mhm.
base. But
We
I'd
often
like
do that, just to thank the clientele.
Right, well, I mean, in terms of the town helping promote it, I think it's easier with such a wonderful cause for the town to say, okay, everybody, this is what's going on. We encourage you to go out and take a look. Um,
Right now, we're having our sack drive, that's something that we've been doing for a
We've been
dozen
doing that
years.
with
I was
the
just thinking
community
about the sack
center.
drive.
The
We'll
community
wind up
center
with
has
a
asked us to donate, have the clients collect socks.
Okay.
Donate socks. So
Uh-huh.
we've been doing that about 7, 8 years with the community
Okay.
center, and then they
We'll wind
get
up with a
food
large
and-
bag of socks.
Sure.
and they deliver the items
Uh-huh.
to area residents
Mhm.
that are in need. But we chose socks over mittens because nobody ever thinks of the feet. They all think of scarves and hats and
Mhm.
coats. So they were like, do socks, so people get a kick out of coming with fun socks. And it's from children to adults.
Uh-huh.
So we get a big thing of socks, and we like to thank our clients, so we provide them, if they bring in socks, we give them a 20% off a product purchase. This way, give back a little bit to them for them giving back. And then they're collected in a couple of weeks.
Somebody will stop by and pick them up.
Mhm.
So we were always doing little things here and there, and
Great.
try to get it out there. And
And again, those are things that if you have a press release or something that we
Sure.
could get out there and circulate as well. And, again, it's sponsored by Progression, so you get extra publicity
Mhm.
out of it. And
Yeah,
hopefully a
thank you.
couple more clients come in because of it.
So you want businesses to contact you then with press releases?
Absolutely,
Sure.
because all of
Okay.
these things, we get that stuff out there, I didn't know about these events, I'm not in that circle, but, knowing about it, then I can, share that with other people and hopefully, help promote it and get more clients to you and the same, that's the sort of thing we want to do here is, brainstorming, share ideas, give you some resources that hopefully the town can help promote your business, so if there's press releases out there, we
You know,
can
definitely.
circulate those.
Since about the time of the website, I've definitely seen a change and much more attention being paid to all of this. I was very pleasantly surprised to have received a handwritten note from our first selectman
Mhm.
when she saw that I was quoted in the New York Times.
Yeah.
That was very nice. It was very thoughtful.
Uh-huh.
And it certainly, had an impact.
What were you quoted before? I didn't see it.
Oh, it was, a reporter was writing a story about something obviously to do with colleges. It happened to be, I don't know if you are familiar with the FERPA law.
Yes.
Okay, so students sign that for the letters of recommendation and certain records, that if they waive their right to the letter of recommendation, they aren't going to read it, and then teachers feel free to write it. And there was something where students, I think if they had signed that, they couldn't see that, but they could see other things, and they were inundating, I think it started at Stanford, and they were inundating the college offices because they wanted to see all their admissions information. And so at the time when he was writing this, it wasn't clear if this was only going to be limited to the people who were current students
Mhm.
or to people who'd been rejected, because then,
Right, yeah.
you know, because they never tell you why you're rejected.
Right.
It was always, well, we had so many applications and we just couldn't take everybody, you know. I'm sure the minute they find out why they were rejected, and lawsuits will begin, so. So at the time, that was the concern. So the
And it's
vote-
no longer a concern?
Then
It's
about like a day or two after that,
Mhm.
it was clarified that it only concerned that what the students were doing using that particular law only applied to current students. So it's, you're in, what's the difference,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
And then a few colleges after that came out with, we're not doing this,
Mhm.
we're done, because they were just inundated with that.
Sure.
But there was a moment where I think the colleges must have been sweating that,
Right.
you know.
So we have the capacity to put postings about businesses on our website, which I think is going to be revamped, so it's a little behind. We're not focusing on it right now, I have to say.
That the website would be revamped.
We're hoping that it's going to be revamped. There are certain things in the work. We are the tail of the dog, basically. So we follow it. We don't get to lead.
Oh, you mean like the whole town website? You mean?
They're really looking at, you know, we investigated putting a website up for years. We had all these ideas that were, at the time, very difficult to implement. You know, 5 years later, think of how technology has changed and how much easier things are. So we have a pretty static website. The town also has a pretty static website because we're at the back end of the town website. And I think, you know, this will be looked at again to see how it can be more fluid, more easy to use, in which case it'll be easier to post and hopefully we'll get more traffic. But the town's doing a really effective job on sending out push notifications
Yes.
to people. I think, I can't speak for the town, but I think that, you know, something surrounding a nonprofit, you know, a charitable contribution is going to be easier to push out by the town because it's really, you know, benefiting the community. Something that's simply a press release that, you know, purely business oriented, I think will be harder for the town to push out. That's just my general sense ethically of what needs to be happening and how we divide the EDC from the town, because we really don't have our own push notification at this point. We rely
Oh, I see.
on the town. But that will change, hopefully, and so.
But the
you know,
EDC can promote businesses.
we absolutely can promote business, we absolutely can promote businesses, but we're relying on the town's push notification.
And we just created our own Facebook page for the EDC, so we
Right.
can even post the stuff. on
Right,
Facebook
right, so
and
you
stuff like
can,
that.
if you become friends and you want to post, then Jeremy's managing the Facebook
Okay.
page,
So
so he
we
can
send
share.
what we want to post to you and
Yeah,
then
If
you
you
actually.
po-
if you like the
posted-
Facebook page,
Yeah,
Then you can just write.
Woodbridge Economic
and then if he
Development
sees what
Commission.
you're posting, you can share it, right?
So is it just the E EDC?
Yeah, it's Woodbridge Economic Development Commission.
Okay.
It'll come
Yeah, we
up
can
and-
share it, right?
Yeah, we can share it. all.
Whatever you
Yeah.
post, we can share.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, and then if I like the page, then you come up in my news feed.
Exactly,
Right, yeah.
exactly.
Oh, that works well.
So yes, we do have that avenue, but, so just be in touch with us. Let us know how we can help.
I don't know if I've ever, I heard when she was saying, when Janet, you were saying you signed up, so I don't know, are we on the EDC? I guess if I didn't go in,
On the website?
right.
I
I don't think I am.
Well, then
So I
you
need to
be.
do, you feel like,
I
yeah?
feel like you are.
I mean, I don't remember if I did it. Would you have done it for me? No.
Possibly.
That's a good friend.
Because I'm thinking like, I know she's always saying, we gotta do this, you know, when we're brainstorming, and it may very well be
Well, you
that
need
she's
to be on it
put me
too.
on there. So if I'm not, I
Yeah,
need to get
I
on
have
it.
particular
And it's easy
issues
to
with the
do.
website.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I have particular suggestions on how
With,
to
for
improve the website.
the EDC website. Well, then we'll have you come back in when we are,
Oh, okay, do.
I mean, because we have a couple of suggestions too,
Yeah.
so, but
I mean, they have, and dynamic, they have to be dynamic.
They have to be dynamic, and we
if
knew
it's
that.
completely static.
we had designed this whole thing where we had this interactive map, and we looked around what other communities were doing around the country,
Yeah.
and then when it came to actually getting what we got, it was a template.
Mhm.
And there's really not much you can do with the template.
Mhm.
And they sort of promised us they'd be able to do the map thing that we wanted, and you know, we're looking forward to the next generation.
So this, EDC page that you speak of, who goes to it?
I mean, anyone can, so
And how do they
ideally
know to
someone
go to
who
it?
is either new to town or looking for something on the town website or.
So would they just like think, oh, I could go there, or is there
It's on the
someone?
Town of Woodbridge page.
Right.
Like one of the tabs
Okay.
at the very end says business. And that's-
Yeah, and
Okay.
it says economic development.
So if I moved here,
Yeah, and if you were thinking of moving here,
right,
and you wanted to see what was going on in the town, a lot of people go to the town websites,
And then
not just Woodbridge, but
they
other
go there
towns
and
to
then they
find
look, okay.
out about the town. I think we're not using a search engine optimization company,
Okay.
so, but I would think if you Google a business that's listed, it may come up. Certainly if it's a featured business, it would probably come up
Okay.
in that search. But yes, you're asking a very valid question. The problem, as the internet has evolved, there's so many websites out there. You don't want it to be this stagnant website that people can't discover.
Right, because I figured if we're on there, but then people don't go to see it.
You are there. I
Okay,
just found it.
thank you.
But the Facebook, I mean, really, truthfully,
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
if you link in, you guys link with our Facebook
Right.
page, and then you
Do
push
that.
out something.
And then I
that-
can like your page, and it can be sort of this thing, and then your,
Sure.
folks, they.
And you can share if they're doing some
Exactly.
nonprofit
Yeah,
meeting
sure. I
or
mean, if
whatever,
you're
or
doing a-
promotion,
Excellent.
we
Yeah,
can
we'll
share it.
And then the individual commissioners that can share it out as well,
Right.
so we'll get it to,
Yeah,
we'll do our best to get
and then
it
you,
out.
and then you viral,
Right.
Maybe you could do a LinkedIn
That
group too.
works.
We can do a LinkedIn group.
I have not I've not had as much success with LinkedIn. I think it's also a bit stagnant. Certainly for getting, I mean, for your business, it's fine, but for their business, I don't know that people look at LinkedIn to find a hairdresser.
True.
Right. Yeah, I would probably agree. We are on it because it was sort of like, you want to be on everything.
Yeah, of course.
You don't want to, but then you realize what's working, so you don't
Yeah.
go to
yeah.
that as
What
well.
what do you find is working?
Facebook gets us a lot, and we do boost the page, I pay extra to boost our Facebook
Right.
page. That's really helpful. We just recently, with our web designer, he helped us with some Google ads and certain wording, so we're popping up.
So you're
like-
doing the search engine optimization.
like this evolved. We did some words with it, and I had 2 phone calls, and I was so excited that I was going to help these women, only to find out they live in Canada. It was so great. I popped up at the top of
Wow,
the page,
yeah.
and we get this all the time, and they say they live off of 69, 63, 68, and I'm like, I think that might be towards Southbury, didn't know. They're like, well, where are you in Woodbridge? It turns out there's a Woodbridge, Canada.
And that's very
But
funny.
because it popped
That's so
up,
funny.
she made an appointment at 2 o'clock, but she didn't show. I called her, and she's like, I'm
Oh,
driving
she
around.
actually
Oh, yeah, she's like,
oh,
I'm
wow.
driving around, I can't find you. I'm like, well, it's right there, you take it. She's like, I don't see a yellow building, I don't see a big one. I'm like saying there's a big one on Rockville. So then I said to her, there was something
Did you look
about
at the
her,
People's Bank here?
and I finally said to her, where exactly are you? She said, I'm from Ontario, Canada. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, we're in Connecticut, we're in the state. And then a week later, I had another woman call, and she
Yeah,
said,
you
are
learned.
you off of, and I'm like, are you in Canada? She said, yes. I said, no, you can't come down. But, so those things really help, so we're getting a lot of feedback from people doing searches and getting, new clients from that. There's also a woman that just came to us, she's out in Wallingford, what's the name of that pharmaceutical company? Anyway,
Alexion?
yes.
Okay.
And she came in and I said, how'd you hear about it? She said, our concierge recommended you. I'm like, who's your concierge? She said, it's a search engine that is a benefit to all employees, and they give you the top 5 that meet your criteria for location,
Wow.
price point, so on and so forth. She said, and you were number 2, and I said, hey, let's try them.
That's
So
good.
it's really good that these things are working,
Mhm.
and we're paying a little bit, but it's making the
Yeah,
difference.
yeah. Fabulous.
So that's why with LinkedIn, I don't get a lot of people saying, oh, I saw something on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, I
we
didn't know if there
kinda
was
steer
like
from
a
that.
group that you wanted, that the EDC wanted to do.
I mean, we're open to anything and everything.
I know, it's hard, and we're all inundated with
Exactly.
LinkedIn and Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great point and purpose of LinkedIn for, B2C, not so much, but B2B and, possibly, especially within your networks. I know a lot of networks I'm involved in. LinkedIn is a phenomenal tool for networking, but that's in the B2B world. But I see, the Facebook, much more B2C focused
Right.
in the search engine optimization.
I have a Facebook group that I'm a member of that's all about college admissions. So it's people on the college side, people on the high school side, independent consultants. And there's so much posted that everything else is pushed out of my feed, or, it's really hard. If you have something like this, it takes up all of your space, so, that is really the majority of my feed.
Interesting.
What have you all found within the community yourselves in dealing with businesses that you're meeting, and I'm sure out there, how they're responding to these things that you're trying to do? Are you getting the support from majority businesses, a small percentage of, I know with the Scarecrow Festival, and then there was the event last year with the bands, and they had tried to do a Woodbridge Day.
Right.
They weren't as successful as far as there wasn't a big turnout. They were
Right.
successful that people put hard work together,
Mhm.
but how does the turnout and with the community as well as the businesses, coming on board and saying, all right, we're gonna do it, and then they follow through?
Well, I mean, first off, we're getting great reception from people who watch. So the fact that you're here, I'm sure people will come. I'd be shocked. People come up to me and say, "Oh, I saw you on TV." So let us know, actually, because we get good feedback, and I hope you do too. So I think that that's right now a big focus. The Scarecrow Festival, has had weather issues, and it's
Right.
very, very hard with the weather. But that sort of thing takes time to build,
True.
and I think that Kate's doing a phenomenal job
Absolutely.
building it, and each year it becomes more dynamic. So I think it's beginning to take some deep
And what
roots.
other events is Woodbridge doing? Like, I know there's the road race, which is now incorporated, but is there anything else that is happening?
With Restaurant Week, we did
Okay.
Restaurant Week. We have
Concert
the
series in
concert,
summer.
the concert series, which we tried a couple of different things. That's not us, it's the town, but that's
Okay.
the Rec Commission. But we've
Okay.
tried to sort of stick our nose in a little bit and promote businesses, and actually.
Something I was thinking about today that I thought maybe if whoever you throw it out to do this, kind of like I was talking to one of our coworkers, one of our workers, Keith, and I said, what kind of things can help to bring business to the area, and want businesses to move to Woodbridge and say, I want to do business in Woodbridge
Right.
because it's such a great place to do business. So he was talking about different areas that he's been, the thing in Westport that was going on with friends and family where everybody's walking around and buzzing, but yes, it's a much more busy little
Right.
store after store. But something like, and I thought it comes across like a job fair, but it's not a job fair, but he said something about, call it like Walk in Woodbridge, and maybe use the town green, maybe use the parking lot at 2:45 on a day off, and all the businesses come with and highlight their business and have tables set up, whatever it means, but like a job fair would be, but instead of interviewing
The
people,
town business
you get the
expo.
town people to come and say, oh, you're in Woodbridge, you're in Woodbridge. They may not really know what's
Right.
in Woodbridge.
So that's B2B, business to
Okay.
business, and that's what we're trying to do with the networking
Okay.
events. But maybe, it's a great idea, maybe one day we'll do a more formalized thing. Again, in the parking lot, we just have weather issues.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
Is there a listing of businesses that you, have in a book? I mean, I know everything is online, but is there any kind of a physical book that you give realtors or something so that when people are moving in or thinking about that, they know about the
we
town?
tell them to go to the website, and that's really our goal at this point.
I think one thing possibly, just listening to Stephanie, the site has limitations, but in terms of adding value to it, I think just what you said, perhaps if you would be willing to do a quote or something, and we can start building testimonials, and as businesses come here, if we can ask, and if they're interested, give us a testimonial as to why you like being in Woodbridge, I think that would help,
Oh, that's a great idea.
potential
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah,
coming
that
to
is a good
town,
idea.
and we could just have a testimonial page or
Wonderful.
sprinkle them throughout the
Or even
website.
just,
but-
we definitely need to update content, so maybe that's the way we start updating content.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, so, I'll follow up with you, and every time we have a
Yeah,
guest speaker,
that's
just
a great
follow up and
idea.
say, would you, provide testimony as to what you like about Woodbridge?
Okay, and then you can link to the site, and we'll link to you, and,
Right. That'd be great.
fabulous.
Very
Well, thank you.
helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's funny, I've only been in Woodbridge for about 10 years. I worked in Milford for 30 years. I've been in the business for 40. Yes, I'm that old. Thanks. Until I started being part of this event for the breast cancer, I had no idea there's so many businesses around. But as I'm driving around looking for people to be part of it, you actually have a lot of businesses around, but you sort of, they're all hidden.
They're all, and that's what we're trying to, create a virtual town almost.
Yeah.
And let everybody know what's out there, because we don't have the advantage of a main street at this point.
I've heard your name, I've seen that logo. I'm not a salon guy, you could probably, it was just so wonderful hearing your story, because that's gonna stay with me. I'm gonna tell, these people are, not only they have a great salon, really nice, they do a lot of stuff for a lot of good causes. That just went a huge way with me, and I never knew anything really about you guys.
Thank you.
So it's all
Yeah.
that exposure just really does help.
Well, I have a lot of friends who go to you,
Yes.
and so I know they think very highly.
Oh, thank you, that's nice to hear.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you all.
So you can stay or you can leave. We just have a couple of things. Well, actually, I'm going to move something up. Well, then, I'm going to move you down if we can.
Sure.
Scarecrow Festival, we actually probably want to participate in that as well. Maybe you want to stay for that. The one thing I was thinking is, the next thing on the agenda is proposed dates for our meeting, which I try to work around school vacations and other conflicts. In July, we can't get a room that night. I was thinking maybe we
Me at the brewery.
meet at the brewery, that's fine, or I was thinking we do it on a Tuesday night instead, and pick a night that the concerts are going out on, and we try to figure out something to do, so that'll be our that month's meetings, to go to a concert and figure out, just either do something in advance for promotion, or just, I don't know, I'm just
Well, they
putting that
did,
there.
why didn't they have one night where they had businesses there? There was a Taste of Woodbridge, but then there was the night where businesses were set up.
Did they do that?
I don't think they did
No,
it
they
this
didn't do it
last
this year.
year.
Yeah,
They
but
did
maybe
years
we
past.
Yeah.
want to do it and have that be our July meeting instead of just sitting in the room.
And we could have an EDC table set up as part of it,
Right,
of all
right,
the different businesses and EDC, and
So maybe that week, the week of the July 21st.
I like Rob's idea better personally.
Wait, we can do both. We can do the August meeting. We can do the August meeting at the brewery, or maybe we'll do a networking event at the brewery when we're up and running.
Mhm.
I think that would probably be, I mean, we could do both, but, so in any event, that's one thing, but
So,
we have to vote to approve this.
but how do we do that though, about that date then?
We'll amend it.
Oh, okay.
We'll amend it.
Okay.
But let's talk about we can do that with that, because that's a little bit, a little bookkeeping. So let's swing back to Scarecrow Festival,
Okay.
because you guys probably want to hear those.
So we had a meeting about a week ago with Betsy Yagla, with Debbie from the JCC, Rose Spinelli, John from the rec department, to do a little post-mortem on the race, the Scarecrow Festival, and the Antique Car Show. And obviously we were rained out, which was a big factor in how it then played out the following week, because we lost PLR, we lost some of our entertainment. A lot of people were away for the weekend because it ultimately fell on Columbus Day weekend. So rain is a challenge. We had the same problem last year. And in talking to John from the rec department, because they've done the road race and they do rain or shine, he said there have been many years. And, it just is one of those things with having an outdoor event that we're going to be up against. So a few of the things we discussed. Do we keep it that weekend? Do we keep the location where it is, having the road race at the town green, the Scarecrow Festival at 245, and the Antique Car Show at the Willows? Do we consider possibly changing the whole idea and being more like Woodbridge Day used to be, where everything was at the green, and then giving businesses an opportunity to then have tables there? So just some ideas, and any feedback, obviously, very much appreciated. One of the challenges I think that we faced with Taste of Woodbridge and with Restaurant Week, is getting people to commit and follow through with participating. Because we have businesses that are saying, this is a great idea, I love it, and then, no one shows up, or there's no follow through, or I literally had people calling me the day before and like, hey, we would love this, but will you build me a scarecrow and put it out for me? No. So I would if I could, but that's not really the point.
Right.
So how do we, as the EDC and as a community, and one of the challenges, and Steph, you and I have talked about this before just as business owners, because we don't have a main street or a green or any of those things, and we've all discussed this before, how do we create a sense of community? We seem to have good pockets of community in Woodbridge. I think the JCC does a nice job with events. I think the rec department does a nice job. The church has different events, but we don't have a cohesive way to kind of gather and meet. And so how do we brainstorm about making that happen, if it's possible? You know, how do we create that with the challenges we face by not, we don't have sidewalks, we don't have a green, so it is what it is. How do we work around that? Does that prohibit us from doing an event like this because we don't get the kind of traffic? I mean, even at 245 this year, there were a couple of businesses that had scarecrows and just forgot to put them out.
Oh,
So it's like, you know,
come on.
My guys were
that's,
so excited to make one when I told them about it, and then they just never did. They had ideas and they were
Right.
making cans and.
and I think people in theory love it. But how do we build, you know, how do we get the momentum going? Because I start, you know, you look at some of the other events in area, you know, even locally. And granted, it takes time, but the road race, for example, they had 100 runners this year.
There's a small turnout this year because of the weather.
And not atypical, apparently. So the Orange Chili Chili Run has 600. The Trumbull Jingle Bell has 750. Is it because it's theme oriented? Is it because the time is different? How can we tie that in and make our event even
Right.
bigger? We talked about marrying these events, having it be scarecrow related.
Right.
With doing the artwork with the schools and then generating the t-shirts and sort of creating this theme. Would that help?
So I think what you're tapping into is that we have these communities within the larger community, and the larger community has a hard time coming together. So I think by tapping into the smaller communities and getting them to buy in, you know, getting Beecher to have, if you can, I don't know if you can, having them to help build a scarecrow. I'm sure you get Ezra Academy, which I'm on the board. I'm sure you bring it to them, allow them to set up a table with a scarecrow. They will buy in. The churches, the synagogues, and then people want to, then they're sort of obligated because they're bought in to come down. I think to have just to be sort of standalone of without getting the communities to buy in, I think that's hard to make it happen. So maybe, you know, switching focus a little bit. I mean, you have the infrastructure, but you know how to stage the event.
Right.
Now you need to get people to come out. But I think, you know, start early and go out to these different communities and say, we'd love for you to be there. You know, how can we get you there? How can we get your people there?
Have you guys ever reached out to any of these other communities, have these successful events and find out what their secret is? Like, has there ever been like, say, hey, how do
Mostly
you get
what I've heard back is time. It's just
Yeah.
time to build and,
Okay.
which makes
So that
sense,
will
but
happen,
again,
right.
some of the other, even like for Orange, you know, they're sort of spread, you figure the post roads are spread out, whatever. But because they have a very active community center and that's where the
Right.
road race, for example, takes place, it's a little easier to kind of pull it all together. It's getting the buy-in from the businesses to support an event. The idea from the beginning was promotion of business, right? Getting traffic to the town. The challenge we face by being in the fall is that there are a lot of festivals those weekends. You know, there's the food truck festivals and the craft and brewery festivals and all of these things. So what do we do as a community, as a town, to make ours exciting enough that we're going to draw people in?
And you wanted the businesses to have scarecrows out. So
Yeah.
what you said about Beecher and Synagogue and Ezra and things, so what would they,
I think if there are businesses that want people to create scarecrows for them, then you let the communities,
Right.
the Ezra, the Beecher, the church,
Right,
you know, the
make
religious
those
schools,
people.
let them be the ones that are making these enough scarecrows so you can distribute it around.
Didn't Assisted Living Center do scarecrows one time on their driveway?
They did it this
Yeah,
year.
so-
This year,
that's
This year
right.
they
it was
did the whole
actually Surrey Preschool
Uh-huh.
brought they did the kid size,
No,
and
not
then they
that one, the
did.
one up in the back behind the,
The
behind
Marriott
Brookside.
one, whatever it's called.
Oh, they used to do it was UNH women's basketball. They
Okay.
used to build the scarecrows, they no
Right.
longer
Yeah,
do
but it was
that.
up the driveway, so
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
even were,
Yeah.
doing something at one point.
Yes, That
I mean, I
was,
think the theme concept, I mean, with the road races, I mean, you know, with the Christopher Martins, they get 2,500, they limited to 2,500.
Right.
I mean,
Where is
Right.
Christopher
Christopher
Martins.
Ten New Haven, State Street.
Okay,
Yeah, that's,
Like East Rock.
well,
It's a toy run, you know, it's a sale run.
but that's, you know, it's theme related, but I
Right.
think the Scarecrow Fest
Right.
has that potential.
It does, but I think that if you have the Scarecrow Fest start and finish in the business district, and then whatever ensues afterwards is in the business district, then you have 100 runners, their families, the kids who made the t-shirts, the kids who want to come out, they're all in the business
Right.
district for the finish of the race. Then
the
they're there,
problem is
there's a
the
band.
state road.
Yeah.
It's
Why?
too, you can't be on.
We can't shut it
Amity
down,
Road.
they can't shut it down at all.
Not that length of it. They
Yeah.
they do a small piece of it now, but to have that
And it's
long
just on
length
the
is
side. I
too
mean,
much of a
it's-
challenge.
It's a couple hundred
That
yards.
would be the ideal.
Absolutely, yeah.
Would there be enough parking for that?
You can use the JCC, by the
Yeah.
way.
But I think to your point, getting the smaller communities involved.
Right, right, I mean.
Because we
JCC
have
that-
like the Willows, they did a great job with their scarecrows and they obviously had the car show, but, you know, maybe getting the churches and the synagogues and
But
the
I think we have to almost start
Boy
now,
Scouts and. the- yeah.
because the summer, you know, the summer, you can't get anything done
Right,
in the summer with kids, generally, you know, and then, so they have to know to put it in their program for the fall.
Right,
to
as
get
soon
it-
as they get into school, kids have to start
Right.
making a design for the t-shirt, because.
Yeah, so I mean,
so we have to get the rec department to buy in, that they'll
Right,
do
right.
But if
that.
they were all over town, I think at Keene, I mean, Keene
Yeah.
does their big
Right.
pumpkin festival, and it's
Yeah.
one of the largest in the
Uh-huh.
country.
Yeah,
uh,
And nobody's doing a Scarecrow Fest in this area, and
Right.
that really could put us on the map. I mean, you know, you got the parade that Seymour does,
Yeah.
you know, the Christmas parade, you know, the
Uh-huh.
Woodbridge is the Scarecrow Fest.
right.
You know, you get more and more people putting up scarecrows, and people literally would come to town to see that.
Right.
well, I think, that I mean, actually, we have enough people in town, the goal is to get the people, if we get people outside town, fabulous,
Right,
but at least get the people in town there.
right.
And I wouldn't be worried about getting people outside, because if all 8,000 residents come down, then that's a great day, right?
Right,
So I think we focus, if we focus here,
And I think if you focus on that, the outside will come in as well.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think it's
Yeah,
right as far as, it
yeah.
takes time.
yeah,
People, this is relatively new, so it takes,
Yeah.
as people find out about it,
yeah.
they'll get interested in our event. It's 12 years old, the
Uh-huh,
pink,
right,
the
yeah.
cancer thing. The first year, we did like $600. We
Uh-huh.
had 6 people that were involved in it, businesses.
Yeah,
We're up to 34.
it's amazing.
You know, we've given Smilo 30 grand over the last 12 years.
Yeah.
So, but it took 12 years.
Mhm.
So,
So when you're picturing this with the scarecrows, it's all over town, it's spread out all
so
over
there,
town?
we've talked about this a couple of different ways. For someone like yourself who has an in-home business, we would love for you to bring your scarecrow to 245 or across the street to Coachman, so that we
Or bring it
create
here, I
this
mean, bring it.
alley of, or all the way down Amity Road.
You know, we could do it at the
or-
library, we could do it, we can, if we
Well,
get
do
enough.
sort of have a green, don't we, where the gazebo
We
is?
definitely-
Part of the original idea was to drive traffic to the business district so that we get exposure. So by having these scarecrows out, we'd bring people to look at the scarecrows, perhaps vote on them, whatever it might be, and then it creates an awareness of what is in town. You know, what businesses are there, what
So you could
services
create
are
a
there.
scarecrow with
what-
a cap and gown and put your
Right,
business
right.
cards on
Right,
it
right,
or
right.
something like that, you know, so it gets exposure to your business. You put your name, you put your website on it, so even though you don't have a business there, at
Right.
least you have some exposure.
No, I think that sounds great, I don't know if people would come from all the way here, and then it's like a driving thing. I think you do need a central area to display them.
It's our constant challenge,
Right.
but,
Yeah, we are a driving town, not a walking
Yeah.
town.
you know. But I think if we
So-
get, what if we get enough, you know, if the businesses, even the home-based businesses do scarecrows, and then we have the kids doing the scarecrows, and then, you know, we can just somehow, it should work, you just have to get people
And was
there.
Rec on board with being more involved next year with the
Yeah, I mean,
scarecrow
John
themed
is
shirts
very-
and?
Well, we didn't get that far. They were somewhat
Not yet.
resistant to that initially. But John is very amenable to, you know, moving dates or doing what they can do to be flexible,
Really?
to try to
Okay,
tie it
good.
all together.
Okay.
And he has very fond memories of doing Woodbridge Day and
Mhm.
the success of that. And
Right over.
it was a carnival.
So I used to
Oh,
go,
I remember
that's
it
where
was-
you used to go
oh,
play
oh,
goldfish
I
when I was
do
a kid.
remember.
They had the
Yeah.
whole big love balls.
The carnivals, don't they still come?
We used to be
Or
up
in
in
the
the
fall?
whole parade
No.
up here.
Yeah, it was all up here,
Yeah.
and someone
was great.
suggested at the meeting, they said, oh, just use that empty parking lot, the empty space next to your building at 245. I said, well, someone owns that. We should clear it and use it, but,
Why did they stop doing Woodbridge Day? I feel like,
Probably
you know, when
years ago.
when my kids were little, we
Not
used to
for once a
go.
year.
The last one
Thing.
was over where the soccer fields
would
are,
be-
and it got rained out.
Was it the carnival?
For that.
The
Right.
carnival.
The carnival, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
do remember those.
so
But then I
could we
thought,
do
you
a
know, my
modified
kids were
version of
older,
that? Could we
so-
have kids' games? Could we do
I
something
think that's the
gonna?
key to it all, because that brings
And
in the
food.
adults.
Right.
Food and
Because they want to bring their
activity.
children to the, I mean, I
Right.
think that's the key to it all, is having
Right,
family-friendly activities for
Right.
everyone.
right.
You know, it's nice to be able to go and have a drink at Saloon or, you know, listen to some music at Wheelers, but stuff for kids at Bouncy House in the
Right.
parking lot, a little bit of
Right.
this. But it's all weather dependent. That's
So
the
much
biggest
liability
thing.
about it.
And also liability.
They carry their own insurance.
Yeah.
Bouncy.
Yeah, I know, but I know so my daughter broke her arm. I mean, on one of these things at the tennis center. It's not. It's
I hear you.
But it
Yeah.
shouldn't be that hard to get the people. I mean, thinking about the JCC, they had their touch-a-truck thing when we were talking about families and stuff.
There were so
I mean,
many kids
that
there,
was a
tons
huge
of
event.
kids.
Yeah, I mean, I brought my kids. I was
I did
surprised
too.
how
What
many
was
people
that?
showed up.
Touch a truck at the GCC.
A bunch of big construction trucks.
And
Yeah,
what
they
about
had
that trunk or
ambulances
treat
and-
thing? Isn't that a big
That's
success?
at, that's at
Oh,
the
that's
firehouse.
huge.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
great
at the
too.
fire. It's because after a couple of years ago there was the snowstorm and the hurricane, and so we're 2 years in a row where well actually the first year with the snowstorm I think trick or treating was canceled.
Right.
So the fire department just said, okay, we're hosting the party.
Well, now they
Because
have
it wasn't
fireworks
safe.
and,
Yeah, it
you
wasn't,
know,
it wasn't safe. Yeah, this year. they had a
corporate,
huge
you know, I
party.
don't
Oh,
need
yeah,
money
this-
to
when
it.
they had the second time, all the wires were down.
Yeah, yeah, yes. So, I mean,
Free food and-
I think they're all good ideas. I
So
think.
when is Woodbridge Day?
It's very
We're looking
fascinating.
at the first weekend in October, which I think is very early. It's like October 2nd or something.
It's Rosh Hashanah that week, you have to be careful.
The
Um,
fall is impossible.
Yeah, but I think Debbie was there and there was, somehow, it wasn't going to interfere. Did it start
Yeah,
maybe
this
Sunday?
Saturday would be
The first, okay.
Okay, I don't know the exact date.
I think maybe it starts the 2nd,
It may. I'll-
and then, which would put our rain date again on Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah, probably.
But if we go backward into September, then it gets to be too close to when school starts, and
The fall is impossible, like, you know, there's the back-to-school nights and all the things,
It's
you know, Jewish
challenging.
holidays, it's always,
Masara Farm is, Katie was not able to be at the meeting, but she had sent an email saying that they were willing to discuss maybe having their event on Sunday, so it was a Saturday, Sunday thing, and
So Rosh Hashanah
Mm.
starts, it probably starts Sunday night. So I guess.
I think
that-
that's what,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's tentatively what we're looking at is October 1st. And then just trying to find ways to spread, and we had the Boy Scouts there this year, and they had a tent, and they were selling their popcorn, and they did a great scarecrow, and
Mhm.
they're
But that's-
very excited to
and
come
so-
back next year, and that will,
And
and
did-
other troops will join.
Right, so did that get people out because the Boy Scouts were there? Did their families?
Yeah, their
do that?
families came, and
Okay.
there was one troop that they didn't realize they didn't have their own tent, so they
Uh,
kind of all went in, which
uh,
made it a little more fun, because
right.
quieter than it would have been.
Mhm.
And the antique car show always has a nice turnout.
Right.
Yeah.
So there, you know, it was a nice day, and they talked about perhaps even having one of the cars up here at the road race to help sort of
Yeah.
advertise, to say,
Okay.
so we'll have a big scarecrow, we'll have an
That's
antique
cool.
car, and then,
That's
you know,
good.
come down the hill and maybe scooch the timing a little bit, so it's not, you know, it's a little more,
Right.
the
And I
flow
don't know
is a
if
little
this is
better.
even an option, because I don't know what liabilities and stuff, but like, that Scarecrow Festival weekend, I had asked my niece, she had asked if she could come down to our salon and her cheer team, and she lives in Durham.
Uh-huh.
So I said, sure, you can come down and cheer in front of
Uh-huh.
us, but she had asked her, they had a competition, so
Uh-huh.
it didn't work out.
Right.
But that was just for us to have a little like,
Well, you even get the Emily
but that's what I was
cheering,
saying, or like
non-cheering,
even
whatever they call it
isn't
as
there a
well.
dance troupe or any
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
school, they can come and do like a,
Yeah, and we were supposed to have there's a dance school that was going to come and perform.
okay.
The Performing Arts Academy.
Mhm.
They were supposed to have kids come and
Oh,
perform,
right.
but because it got changed,
Oh, right.
Right,
that's-
you can't, right.
yeah.
Maybe even like the high school band, they could set
Yeah,
up
yeah.
in
Right.
the parking lot.
I mean,
hard.
Is it?
Well, I
And
think
the
the
other
band-
thing for the rec department is you can possibly
Maybe
do
like
a
games.
competition for best costume for the
Mhm.
road race as a scarecrow.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
so that's another thing that a lot
Right.
of road races do is they have, and so then the business community
Mm-hmm.
donates prizes to the road race
Mhm.
for best costume of a scarecrow in the road race, and that brings people out. I mean, more and more people
Yeah.
get dressed up for these road races
Oh,
and
God,
stuff.
yeah.
And you know, so there's another way to tie the business
Right.
community into the race and
Right.
help promote the rec department and support the rec department
Mhm.
and get that,
Mhm.
you know, so maybe they'll be more on board to supporting Scarecrow Fest.
Okay.
I think I think the infrastructure's there. I think we just need to communicate with
Can you
the
tie it?
organizations.
I know it's the end of the month, but if you tie that in with Halloween, and that would bring the children in?
Well, what we don't want to do is interfere with Truck or Treat, with the Halloween Hoot, and with Pampered and Pink, which are three big town events. So we're trying to stay at the front end and then have the scarecrows out for the month.
Mhm.
So it encourages people to continue to come out and
I see.
visit and see.
Something that I've learned also is, because of this event, is when people first hear about it, they're excited. Oh, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there. But you know, it runs the whole month of October.
Mm.
By the Halloween, a lot of people forget about it.
Mhm.
So what we've done to combat that is, right at the beginning of October, I'm at the JCC, all our people that are part
Right.
of the event, the 34 businesses,
Mm.
the JCC being one of them,
Mhm.
and we hang up literature.
Mhm.
On this day, this is going to be happening, masseuses will be there,
Mhm.
manicures, pedicures, and so
Mhm.
forth. If you're a survivor, no charge,
Mhm.
the whole event.
Mhm.
And by people coming in and out, and it's at every business. So as their clientele comes
Yeah,
in
I
and
guess
out,
like with the Scarecrow
we're
Festival,
finding that
maybe
it's growing.
putting
Yeah, I'm
signage
sure, I'm
out
sure.
in the beginning of September, like as far
Well, and this
as.
was the first year we had
Right.
signage.
Right.
Right,
So,
right.
and
like
it was
do a
beautiful.
Save
Yeah,
the date
yeah.
thing.
They did a great job. So that will improve, I think.
Yeah.
I think this year maybe just focus on getting the community groups involved and bought in,
And that'll bring people out.
and I think that'll bring people, because I think you have the infrastructure. I mean,
Mhm.
you created the infrastructure before you were on the EDC board.
Mhm.
So now we need to just
Do we have a Facebook?
build
page
it and
for
they
the
will
festival?
come.
We do now.
We do.
Build it and they will come, right? Isn't that-
Is it the Scarecrow Festival Facebook page?
Yes.
Oh, I'll write that.
Yes, you will.
Thank
Like,
you.
I gotta go out there and be like and everything.
Okay.
Thank you. So moving on then, Willis, actually, you're taking notes, but I think I had you down, so one of you's taking notes.
That's
right?
okay.
Oh,
Are you doing it
I
too?
wasn't taking,
Yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine, next time. So we have, we need a motion to amend you guys don't have to stay, we're doing mostly bookkeeping now.
we haven't had dinner, so we really.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank you very
having
much for this
us.
opportunity.
See you waiting early.
So we need a motion to, first off, amend the July proposed date.
It would be either the 12th or the 19th, I guess, would be the two Tuesdays,
Yeah.
because the first week is Taste of Woodbridge, so that would be the 5th.
Are they doing it again for the
Oh, I'm
July?
assuming, right? Is it Taste
July?
of Woodbridge, or they,
I would assume so.
Yeah,
yeah, that's usually the first
Okay.
week,
Of the concerts, yeah.
and that would be Tuesday the 5th, I guess. I'm just
Yeah, this is.
going by
Yeah.
history, so then you get the 12th, the
Right, right.
19th.
I would personally prefer the 19th, but,
And then at least it still gives you one, well, I guess rain date they move it into, well, sometimes they go,
They
they
do
move
the
it
next
inside,
night.
or they, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
so,
Reading
fine.
some samples for you guys.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, is that more often allowed?
Yes. It's good for everybody, men, women.
That's all
I've never seen a little sample like this.
Yes, you can take it home to wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, whoever you have kids.
Yes, my
All right,
daughter.
So everybody take some.
They're a long way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks
great
very much.
meeting you all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yours.
Whatever it is, I guess I need something to bring home. I don't know
Yes,
what it
that's
is.
really good.
Can I give you all one? Yes,
Okay,
I
thank
made it
you.
up. And,
I'll bring home the carrot.
yes, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate, you tomorrow, we don't, did you, good night?
Thank you.
If you need
So
one
do we
more.
have, we need a motion to amend this, or?
Motion to amend
Okay, motion to amend them to
to
July 19th.
July 19th. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
To July 19th.
And to host at the,
And but we will be having, well, I'll have to consult with Jerry Weiner about how we can have a meeting at, and we just want to have, and we're not gonna,
Could be.
it'll be an open meeting, and we'll just open it and we'll close it, and that'll be our minutes, basically, I guess. And we're not gonna really have any discussions. That's my
But we
thought.
can have a table set up.
We can have a table,
If-
yeah, we can have a table set up. Yeah.
If the rec department,
Right,
well,
I'm sure we can sponsor again and they can allow
So you're
it.
talking about the 19th?
The 19th of July.
So we have to make a motion?
So yeah, so make a motion to amend, we need someone to make a motion to amend the proposed dates, to delete July 21st. Instead put in July 19th, and the location to be at the concerts.
okay, so motion, change 21st and 19th location, Town Green.
Someone to second
Yeah,
it?
second that.
Is there any
All in
others
favor?
that we need to change at the same time?
No,
Okay.
if you guys are okay with all these, if all the other dates worked, we have the May and June unless we're bumped by finance
Next two dates are
again.
tough for me, but we'll see.
What?
The next two dates actually on this are tough.
Okay.
The first, January and February.
Okay.
January definitely can't be here, but February, my son's due 2 days.
Oh, well,
around
we
this.
don't
We'll see
expect,
what
we
happens.
don't expect you to be here.
I'm not
That's
here
fine.
on the 4th, I can't
Okay.
make, I'm traveling in
Okay.
April 14th, but those are the only conflicts I
Okay.
have.
Well, conflicts happen.
No, as long as
Yeah.
there's not, I mean, if there was
Yeah.
half of us couldn't be my
Yeah, yeah.
date,
Yeah.
then, but that's why I just wanted to put it out there.
Okay, so all in favor?
Okay?
Approved unanimously. So these will be our dates for next year. Lynn and Lacey is actually retiring. I think tomorrow's her
saw
last
that
day.
today.
What?
Wow.
Tomorrow's her last day, so, I'm not sure who's gonna put these in the record.
Everything was done tonight.
Lynn wasn't sure who was keeping the calendar, but she promised me they would get in. All the commissioners, next item, all commissioners are invited to the town holiday party, which is Tuesday, December 15th from 5:30 to 7:30. Commissioners it's free for commissioners, and then all others with a cash bar. And it will be at Wheelers, who are nice enough to host. And if you want to bring any guests, it's $15 per guest, and you need to RSVP to that city for that. There's also the CEDIS annual dinner meeting. I don't know if anybody wants to network, and it's a really busy time of year. It's next Wednesday. The information's here to register. And we are members of CEDIS, so you can actually register for it. And we have a budget to attend these events because it's networking and information and learning. So if you want to attend, just talk to Tony Genovese.
That's what I was gonna ask, how we do that. I can't go to this, I'm with conflict, but
Right.
in the future, how, do we know, how we just send Tony a note and say?
To
we
send,
wanna
I
go
mean,
to
if
this,
it's, I don't think we're gonna go over budget. We haven't ever reached our, budget. So if you want to attend, yes, just let Tony
Okay,
know.
so we don't need to know at a meeting before, just copy you or?
Copy me,
and then-
let Tony know. You're gonna be the one to RSVP, I guess. Just find out, I'll try to find out from Tony how he wants to handle it. There's also, I got something today, I think it's on the morning of December 10th from CERC, that if anybody there's a free marketing information session.
Mhm.
I can.
Elevator pitch or something, I think it is.
I don't know exactly, but, I'll let you know.
I've been seeing that one come up a bunch lately.
Well, I just got it today, I haven't seen it. But if anybody's interested in attending, this month is just crazy for me, I think, though. I really can't leave Woodbridge. Here, free marketing, CERC is a Connecticut Economic Resource Center, and CERC and Sandal Training are offering a free workshop on the 30-second commercial. Thursday, December 10th, from 8:30 to 10. If anybody's watching and they want to go, I think you just call Natalie Rosenbaum and say you're a business and you want to come out. It actually sounds pretty great. I don't have, there is, Betsy's planning, and moving on to item 7, Betsy Yago's planning another networking event. In January, she doesn't have a date, but if you want to, when you're ready and open, and
No, we're open, yeah.
you're open, so maybe just talk with Betsy
Sure.
about offering to host, because I know she's always looking for locations. We would love to have a meeting there as well, but I think probably for you to get the business community out would be,
Yeah, I'd love to.
yeah, that'd be wonderful. Looking forward to it. I have no update on the signage, and Yaron could not make it tonight. So I know, Jamie, you were working with the JCC, so maybe just start CCing Yaron on the email.
Okay,
And that way.
because that's right, he was gonna check dates with the speakers
Right,
and
so that
stuff.
way,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think scheduling we can do by email, CC someone at the town, so it's easily discoverable without going to our servers. And then I think we'll, try to schedule a date that way. For those who've not been at meetings, Yaron has offered to create a cybersecurity program for cybersecurity breakfast, which will outreach the entire business community and also home businesses. Anybody in the area anybody in Woodbridge who wants to attend will be invited. And so we're just figuring that out. So you have not been, I have you on the agenda, Rob, because you discussed, and I know that you've been really, really busy,
Yeah.
but you had that idea of, creating the summary of business permits.
Yeah, we're
Process.
back up and running, installs in taste rooms, so I can put a little more time to this. And
Okay.
Terry and
Yeah,
Chris Sullivan,
okay.
and see what I can get from them or what they're willing to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would make life easier for a lot of people, so. And then just bring it back to us and let us know how we can help.
Oh, okay.
And the town, you have the full support of the town to get it out there, so that we can post it on the Facebook page, we can
Is
post
this
it on the
gonna be
page.
virtual? Is that what you're envisioning?
I think even just a packet, or it could be virtual on the thing that you want to print it, or.
Like a PDF.
PDF with those little fill-in thing, I love the fill-in sign.
Writable PDF.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are nice.
Those are, yeah, they're really nice, because then, nobody has to read my handwriting then.
Right.
It's on
Or talking
the
to.
website, and
Right.
then you could download it and then have printable versions of it.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
if they wanted a printed packet, but
Mhm.
this way we can direct them and more
Mhm.
reason for people to go to the EDC page too.
Right, and we can direct it to the brokers and let the brokers have the link.
Mhm.
Some of the FAQ too, just
Mhm.
Mhm.
things that
Yeah,
you might want to.
yeah. So, yeah, great.
It can be an awesome resource.
Jimmy, do you have anything well, we already discussed the Facebook page, so.
Yeah, but I know we've talked about some of this, some of the real estate, some of the commercial real estate, I guess, expertise that I could bring to the table. I put together at the beginning of a briefing document that we can start I'll create that I'll email to you guys. It's
Okay.
an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
It has addresses of vacant office, retail,
Okay.
industrial land in town.
Great.
It'll constantly
Okay.
change, obviously.
Okay.
I'll send it to you guys, you can take a look. I mean, this is based off of the websites that I utilize for work, so it's based off of the
Right.
MLS, it's based off of LoopNet,
Uh-huh.
and a bit off of Circ. It's not based on me driving around town, because there's a number of landlords that certainly have their spaces on the market that I don't have access to, but that doesn't mean I can go and,
But is this
I
something?
can call them on behalf of the EDC and say, I'm not calling you as a realtor, I'm
Right.
calling you I just want to find out what you're asking and put this out to the town. And that's the next step, I think.
So if you send it out, whenever you send it out during the month, I'll make sure to include it on the next agenda.
Okay.
So then it gets published with the agenda, so people, if they want to look at our minutes and our agenda, it'll be there.
I wonder if it's something that Betsy can add monthly to her business email
Oh,
that she
sure,
sends
sure.
out.
That's
Just,
a great idea.
it's
Oh,
another
yeah.
resource that EDC's putting out.
Mhm.
I mean, Jeremy should be able to get credit for it and say that
Absolutely.
he's put it out,
Yeah.
and, a link to his company.
Yeah, yeah,
because they're
absolutely,
doing the
absolutely.
research, and I think that's all
Yeah.
part of it, is that,
Yeah.
Jeremy from Levy Mill and Moretz,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good tool for anyone who's in town, who wants to bring another friend who loves to work in Woodbridge, and they can bring, people, just basically address the type of space, how much space there is, whether it's a lease or sale, or, and how much it is per square foot. So we'll go
Because
from
if it's
there,
in
or
the
what it is for
newsletter,
sale.
If it's in the electronic email, then it's easy for any business to forward too. You know, they, like you said, they have a friend, boom, you just forward it to, you know, whoever and say, well, look.
So I'll spruce it up a little bit, and I'll email it out to you guys.
Okay,
All right.
great.
I think it's an awesome resource.
PSCD, nothing new on that. We have no public left to comment. Is there anything else anybody wants to add to the agenda? for
No, I
tonight?
just think it was a great meeting. I think it was almost nice that it was a little bit more cozy and
Uh-huh.
to have those
Uh-huh.
folks here participate in the discussion. I
Yeah.
think it was great.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear the feedback from the businesses that we bring in here on things like the Scarecrow Festival, because that's what we're doing it for. So to hear what they want and how they think we can utilize their businesses and stuff is good
I mean, I know
resource to
we
make
we
this
don't want to
thing
take
grow.
up every meeting with that much time, but I
Yeah,
think
it's
it
a
was
lot.
really valuable.
No, no, that's why I mean, I realized we don't, and I also knew the agenda was pretty late tonight, and they all had such interesting perspectives that I wanted to keep
I
going
don't know if
with
there's a
it.
way that we could
because-
replicate that in a bigger room. Like it says, almost the feel and the coziness of this room.
Right, a
allowed
brainstorming.
that- Yeah, allowed that to happen.
Mhm.
You almost feel a trial there, sitting.
Yeah.
Well, we can, I mean, we can ask for this room, but we're right now we're signed up for the big room.
We've had more people in our meetings where it would be very difficult to
Yeah,
have.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
important, obviously, we want the,
Uh,
you know, the broadcast capabilities
right,
of
right.
it, but I'm just saying it
Uh,
was a great
yeah.
meeting.
Great, well, motion to adjourn then at 8:25.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.